Hey, Trail people, you're listening to the Trail Network podcast hosted by Rachel Drake, Hillary Yang, Katie Asmuth, and myself, Leah Yingling. We're here to celebrate the community connections and the untold stories within trail running. And today I'm so excited. We have Emily Cameron here on the show with us. If you've been in trail and ultra running for any amount of time, I'm sure you've seen something that Emily has shot. She's an incredible creative doing video, photography, and then also has an incredibly inspiring past in swimming and triathlon, which I'm excited to dig in today. Emily, I think you're a massive inspiration for so many that follow you. And I think Hillary being a creative herself as well, and myself living with a creative, what you do is exceptional. And I think you get so many eyes on the sport. So really excited to dig in with you today.
Thanks, guys. I'm really excited to be here. It's really cool to chat with you guys.
Yeah, awesome to have you here, Emily. Where are you calling in from today? And I know we were just offline talking about this, but for all of our listeners, let's maybe start with a little bit of a grounding in where's home for you?
Home right now is in Athens, Georgia, and I'm going on my 13th year of living here.
I see that you're also a fellow reigning from Pennsylvania. So shout
Yeah,
out East
yeah.
Coast.
Shout out PA. Yeah, I'm was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, so Amish country. And then I came down here for college, and I've been here ever since. So
A little warmer right now in Georgia than it is in Pennsylvania?
it is. It's honestly, sometimes I'm a little jealous just because I love this. I like seasons and it's getting warmer and warmer down here. So it's like it'd be nice to have a little bit of cold weather occasionally.
Totally relate to that being in LA. I'm from Canada. Like it was 78 degrees here today, and you're just like, it's January, like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
But
too
that's
much.
awesome. Yeah.
Emily, I think when you're in the sport of ultra running these days, often people are concentrated in the Mountain West, whether that's athletes, people who are creative like you in the sport. What keeps you in Georgia, and what brought you there in the first place?
That's honestly a question I've been pondering a lot in the last like little while. And I mean, it always has come back to the community here. It's when you find yourself like really deeply rooted with a group of people, it becomes very difficult to leave. And when I kind of like, I guess fast forwarding, but when I got out of college, I started working for Fleet Feet. And that really introduced me to like the running and I guess honestly the cycling community here too. And it's hard to leave. So I think that's definitely the main thing that keeps me here. But I came here because of swimming, really, honestly. That was the impetus to bringing me down south.
Yeah, and I wouldn't just say you were any style of swimmer. You were a Olympic trial qualifier in swimming on the 2016 trials, which is absolutely incredible. And I feel like that's something that not a lot of people in the trail space likely know about you. Can you talk a little bit about your journey there and then what sport has looked like for you since then?
Yeah, it seems like a past life. I mean, I'm sure we can all relate to having sports in our lives that kind of you like take a back seat when you get a little bit older. But yeah, I swam for I guess 17 years and it was an amazing experience. And I like honestly my introduction to travel became was because of swimming. I think that introduced me to a lifestyle that I was kind of curious about. But yeah, I got to swim for at the time one of the best swimming programs in the country under like an incredible group of coaches and I had teammates make the Olympic team and yeah, you're just surrounded by greatness on a daily basis, and that's, like, pretty freaking cool for a college experience. And I was definitely, like, a little fish, I would say, in a sea of really, really good swimmers, but it teaches you a lot about, like, hard work, obviously, and, yeah, I think it kinda shaped, like, how I wanted to approach other aspects of my life post-swimming. So, yeah, that's kind of a little bit about that.
I feel like swimming is such an interesting sport because it's a solo sport, similar to trail running, I guess, but you sort of have that team environment and sort of the mentorship and just like you said, looking around at all the other people that are you're measuring things in just like milliseconds and very small gains. But like, do you find that that sort of shaped you as you're becoming like an adult and such and sort of figuring out who you are as far as just like being able to look in your own lane and kind of like just put your head down and do the work and trust that that's enough? Because I feel like that would be kind of a hard part of swimming, you know?
Yeah, it's like I actually was just talking with my creative partner Anna about this, and she asked me if I had an unhealthy relationship with time because of swimming. And I think it comes down to like your time is measured it's in such small amounts when you're in the pool. And like, you know, for example, like if you want to rewind back to like 2016 trials, like the difference between making the Olympic team and I got eighth in the final was I think like 1.7 seconds, which is like so much time for a swimmer. But like when you talk about that for like a regular human, that's like this much. And so yes, I have an unhealthy relationship with time because it's just
Do you
like
still measure it and like just like these little clock ticks? Like,
well, yeah, and it's like time. Yeah, I think it came down to like just like the value of time, and like it taught me the value of time for better or for worse. So yeah, I think that definitely shaped a lot of how I approach work now.
That's
I
really
I just
yeah.
have to say I love that now we're in a sport where we measure things in hours and days, you know?
Yes, it
Just
is
the
so
contrast.
cool. It's like infinitely better. Yeah.
Yeah, that must feel like, okay, this is a good pace, you know, we can handle this level of stress.
Well, it's like you can so much can change. Like in an event like say like the 400 individual medley, like that was my event, and it was like you have 4 minutes, around 4 minutes, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And like to us, that was like the world of change. Like anything can happen in 4 minutes. And then you take that into an ultra space and you're like 100 miles. Like imagine what can happen in 100 miles.
And during that 4 minutes, you could be like sitting on your butt in an aid station eating potato chips and contemplating your life. So
Yes.
very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. But also the same in some aspects. So really fun.
Yeah.
Emily, I'm curious. So back in 2016, whenever you were in the Olympic trials, a lot of athletes, we kind of see them diverge in different paths after Olympic cycles like that. They either keep pursuing the next step of the Olympics or they might reroute to another life plan. And it seems like you pivoted a bit towards a new sport of triathlon. What was going through your head in those periods of time when you were deciding where to take your career next? Because I can imagine that wasn't an easy decision.
I did not. I was like, I didn't know we were gonna hit on that life. Yeah, I think I was like, I was really excited about swimming, but after 17 years, I think I was genuinely like burned out with it. I mean, it was like year round from the time I was 7 onwards, and so it just I think I got to my senior year of college and I was like, I'm like probably the top 1% of swimmers, but to make it professionally, I think I needed to be the top 0.01%, and I just didn't have the drive to make it that much farther, which is kind of sad. But I saw it as an opportunity to try something different because I had a 5th year of college, and so my uncle lent me his like I actually still have it. It's next to me, my Raleigh road bike, and I went out for the club triathlon team my 5th year of college, and I loved it. I was like, this is great, you know. Like biking's really fun. I come from a running family, so like running was kind of like an easier transition. And then I think the mindset was like, well, I wasn't going to be a professional swimmer, so why don't I try to be a professional triathlete? Which is now looking back a very naive thing to, assume you can do.
3
But yeah,
sports, you know.
yeah, it's fine. So I kind of like jumped headfirst like into that dream really. And yeah, I really went for it.
That's really cool to hear. And I think you speak to kind of the naive perspective you may have had then, but I almost see that as like giving you the versatility that you have today in the creative space. For those of you who might know you from trail and ultra running, you're actually involved in way more just even outside that space. You're involved in shooting swimming, in shooting bike races, in really like all types of sports and endurance sports. And I would attribute that largely to like just being so adaptable and versatile in all avenues of your life. And I really appreciate seeing somebody just not be so narrowly focused on one sector of the sport because I'm sure it really lends to your craft whenever you're able to bring in perspectives from a variety of different actions and sports and things that you get to experience.
I was just going to piggyback on that and just say, like, As like a multi-sport athlete myself, like I think it really adds a lot of value to like how you approach sport if you understand different sports, right? And you're not just looking at it from one lens, and you can like I just think that that is such an interesting background that you have coming into it.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think it helps with burnout too, you know? I think when you're I mean, it's I just, yeah, take it back to, like, swimming for so long, like, I think if I was really just focused on one sport, if I was, super big into swimming, I think like photography, I think I would really probably not like it after a couple years, and so trying to just keep a little bit of diversity with sports is really helpful for my squirrel brain. And yeah, I think it does help from a creative perspective as well.
I'm really curious. So I know like every creative person I know has had such an interesting and circuitous journey to get into this place in the sport and trail running and all of it. And so for you, what was the transition like from sort of thinking you were going to have maybe a more traditional life path to realizing that you wanted to tell stories, in the outdoor spaces and just sort of like what started that journey for you?
Um, I would say so during COVID, that was the first time that I picked up I bought my first point and shoot, was a little Sony RX100. And if you guys know of Humans of New York, I wanted to do that in my town of Athens because I was trying to figure out if I wanted to continue living here or not. And so I started this platform called the Local Athenian. And I basically went around town and I just like I asked people why the hell they're still living in Athens. Like it's a transient college town. Like why are you still here? And obviously I'm here now 5 years later after that, so I understand. But that really helped me understand like shooting people in their element, and just like a simple portrait that can tell like a whole story. And then I kind of got I I was suggested to me to start maybe playing around with shooting sports that I really cared about, and so I started shooting swimming because that seemed like the first obvious step. Because I'm still connected with the swim team here. And then, yeah, running and cycling kind of followed suit because we have a big criterium called Athens Twilight, which is like it's been going on for I think like 50 years, and so I shot that. And then my best friend Abigail West is a trail runner, which you guys know her, and so she really introduced me to the trail space. And that's kind of the long story short of how I ended up like meeting you guys.
All right, quick pause to thank Osprey for supporting the Trail Network podcast. If you've ever got out for a run and spent the whole time adjusting your pack or fussing with your bottles, stopping things from bouncing or sloshing around, I mean, we feel ya. It's kind of the worst. Osprey's running hydration is built to do exactly not that. Their packs move with you, the belts stay put, and the bottles are super easy to grab and drink from without having to slow down or stop. We emphasize hydration a lot here on the podcast. It's super important, and having gear that works with you, not against you, is a huge piece of that puzzle. Whether it's a quick run or a long day in the mountains, Osprey's packs are solid, thoughtful, and well designed from people who clearly know how to run. You can check out their running hydration packs, bottles, and belts at osprey.com. Back to our show.
Something that I recall, and I remember telling Mike about this a couple years ago, right after I met you, I think at Western States, helping out single track the one year, was at the end of the year, you recapped all the cold emails, the number of cold emails that you had sent out in that calendar year to get work. And it was one of the most inspiring things that I see because I think on the surface, athletes and other media people in the sport, they might look at the photographers and think, work is directly coming to them, falling in their lap. But I think you can really speak to the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to make it to the point where you have. Do you have any reflections on that journey over the years and the sacrifice, the outreach, what that's looked like, and advice for people like you, 5 years ago?
I think in the very beginning, it's like you have to put like almost a way put your ego aside and just like really throw yourself out there into any job. And then those cold emails weren't just endurance sports and sports related. They were like going to plumbing companies. I just told the story yesterday to my friend. It's like carpet cleaning companies, plumbing companies, roofing companies. Like, I mean, you're talking like anything I could find around this area, especially that would potentially hire someone for a creative role. I was like, hi. um, and then, yeah, like wonderful situations. Like I remember Finn posted like searching for photographers for 2023 Western states. And I happened to respond, and like by an act of God or whatever, he picked me to like come join the team. And so yeah, it was just like, I don't know, putting so many emails and opportunities out into the space and just seeing what comes back at you, I think is like the biggest thing.
I think that's such a huge lesson for anyone who's listening who is trying to kind of get into the creative space. Is really, it's kind of a numbers game, you know, like it really is being willing to just like keep putting yourself out there and not get discouraged. And eventually, not only does it stick, but I think you become more resilient and you just become more like used to people saying no, but also once in a while, like you said, someone saying yes, and you're like, let's go, you know? I just, before we sort of move too far away from your origins in photography, I'm really curious because COVID for me was very both transformative and terrifying and existential in every way. For you, like deciding to interact with people through photography during COVID, that's like a very specific choice, you know? And it was, I distinctly know during that time I like hid from the world and I just fell back on graphic design and didn't talk to anybody. And so I think that's really cool that you're like, I'm going to go out and actually like talk to people, which was something that we're like actively not supposed to do. And like, I'm going to like choose this time to interact. So, how was just sort of like the mindset and I guess the reception to you going around Athens and like trying to talk to people and trying to like get them to open up? And do you find like that also made you bolder? Because I personally find it really scary to do street photography stuff and like ask people to get a portrait, you know?
Yeah, so I guess it was November of 2020 when I did my first story, I think. And we always met outside, so like the concern of like the health concerns obviously were like taken into account. And people that didn't feel comfortable just wouldn't decide to chat. But I think it really did help me to one, understand where people were at, and learn to listen. I think that's a huge component of being a creative is understanding, you know, all we're in these interviews half the time, and even on like podcasts like this, and you're like listening to me or the person talk, but you're also planning your next question. And it's like it like for a second it's like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna actually listen to what this person's saying. And that taught me a lot. And I think it's transferred now into like larger interviews with like, you know, films that I didn't ever dream that I'd be making.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that you learn from just like that cold open of talking to total strangers and like trying to get them to open up to you, right? And just I think especially during COVID, but also just in general.
Well,
Yeah.
and I would also love to add to that, like, I reached out to you actually, and I'm sure maybe you remember we had like a 45-minute phone call. Maybe it was an hour. I literally asked you like I think 100,000
Yeah.
questions about the trail running endurance media space. And you took the time. Like you made time, and at one point you were like, I actually do need to leave.
I remember
And
that, but I was
no,
enjoying it. It was so good.
no, I was like so thankful because I mean, I wouldn't have ever expected that. And so it's like, I think for creatives out there, maybe that aren't in our space yet or like looking to be in our space, it's like, don't be afraid to reach out because there are people like you in particular who are willing to take the time and mentor in a way like of how to make a life that's not the normal life. So I think that's really cool and worth to like, you know, put your hand on or just, yeah, put yourself out there.
As a note on that, I had actually totally forgot we had that conversation until just now, and it all came flooding back. And I'm like, oh my God, that was great. And also, I was so excited that it was like another female creative that was like reaching out. And I do feel like within the creative space, especially for all the female creators out there, I think we can be intentional with like creating those connections and like helping each other out and like I just think I want to foster that. I know like you have the same attitude. I want to get into that more, but just like side note, I think that's really important. So I love
Yeah.
that. I love how full circle this is, Emily.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Life's cool.
Emily, you talked a little bit about burnout and swimming, and then you also just commented on like the quote unquote normal life or not so normal life that is the media space that you're pursuing. Uh, I'd imagine your last year of life has not exactly been chaos free. I think just at the top of my head, you had a really awesome shoot with the North Face. I think was that out in the San Juans, and then also a documentary of Tara Dower and opening your own production company. And you're at UTMB. You are all over the place. How has that looked for you this past year? How have you been able to balance it and avoid burnout if you have avoided it?
Truthfully, like I'm like I'm happy. Like I am happy. It's like I'm also like kind of surprised at how life like turns out when you look back like 5 years ago. And like I am living my dream life, which is a really cool thing to be able to say. I do think that the burnout it comes more with the travel, because I think when you're in the event and when I'm at the event or I'm at the shoot, it doesn't hit me. Like I'm like, this is like, your adrenaline's pumping, you love being there, you love being in it. And it's especially nice because the stress of not actually being the athlete is like incredible. Like I love being the person that's documenting versus actually doing it.
So good, right?
It's so good. And it's also like kind of like you said, like I don't think people really know that I actually like can run, or like I'm not just like a random human that shows up. Like I actually can try to keep up with some people. So it's nice to also surprise some people. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I can run too, you know?
I can throw down, yeah. With a gimbal.
With a gimbal, yeah. Which is really fun. But yeah, I think maybe the diversity in sports, like I said, but I am also this is my, I guess, third year doing this freelance. So I know I'm relatively green, and I know it's coming. Like, I know I'm going to get to the point where it's like, okay, like we need to reset a little bit. But as of now, I'm still riding the wave of like, we're doing it.
I think that's an interesting point about the travel. Leah, you can probably also like relate to that a lot, just with like how much we're at events, and even if you're not racing, just like the travel, the wear and tear that takes on the body. Like I often know I'm done for the year when I'm just raging in an airport at something stupid because I just have no tolerance left. I'm just like, how did you forget your water bottle in your bag? How? You know?
Yeah.
Like maybe we're done. Maybe we just pull the plug on the year.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, you get out there and you have these moments that are like, pinch me, right?
Yes.
I want to dive into Trail Folk a little bit because I actually watched it a couple nights ago and loved it. It was so fun, and I thought you guys really did a good job of capturing Tara Dower's personality and just like her energy and everything that makes her fun and like she's just such an interesting human, and I think that it takes a certain type of person to be able to like authentically like react to that and be part of the story. And what I felt like was that you and Anna were really like part of the team and really part of the energy and like matching that. And I think that's really special and important when you're really in someone's grill like you were with Tara for so much of the year. And so I wanted to give a shout out to Anna and Brannon, your co-director on the project, and also just like let's like get a little bit of like background on how that came to be and how you got connected with Tara and just like what prompted that project, because that was a pretty big project for you, right?
It was huge. Yeah, it's like probably the biggest project of my life.
Yeah.
And one of the best friendships too, that has both from an Anna standpoint and from a Tara standpoint, which is so cool. Yeah, I guess it originated from Abigail West because she encouraged me to go up to the last day of Tara's Appalachian Trail attempt. And I didn't feel comfortable because I was like, it's very clear they had a tight knit crew, and I, now having been in it, I understand that very deeply. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable stepping into a space that has been so deep for the last 40 days. And she was like, no, like Rascal said, you can come, you should go up there and document it because this is historical and there needs to be some sort of documentation of this besides cell phones. And
So
so
true. So true, Rascal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I came up for the last 12 hours and I had reached out to Finn and I don't have a YouTube. And so I asked if he wanted to like, yeah, put it on his because he obviously has a very large following. And that was like life, it was life changing. You know, I mean, it introduced me to the whole crew. And then that's what led me to get a job working for Ultra for JP at Javelina in 2024. And then following Black Canyon, when Tara got her golden ticket. And that's when kind of this thought process came up of like, how can we showcase her year in a way that is a little bit different than maybe it's been done in the past? And that's where the film idea began, was after she got her golden ticket at Black Canyon. And Anna comes in because uh, we were already working together on a project that she was kind of spearheading with another athlete named Liz Durstein. And it seemed right to bring Anna on to this project after some kind of changes with how we were going to structure the creative team. And so, yeah, we ended up deciding to do 2 projects together in 2025. And I mean, I'm sure you guys can relate, but when you find people that you really just like jive with and can work really well together, it's like, aside from like a romantic partnership, it's like the coolest thing that you can have. And not only that, but like she's one of my best friends at this point too. So I think, and I guess tying into like how we're integrated within Tara's life and crew, I think, you know, obviously her rise in trail running has been like post AT, it skyrocketed, right? And I'm sure there's like a lot of like rush to like cover her and like, you know, tell her story. And like, I do feel genuinely like really freaking lucky to have been able to be a part of telling her story to the trail world. And I think it stemmed from that AT experience. And yeah, I'm like, I have like a million new friends this year because of it. It's like, this is really cool.
That's really inspiring to hear because I think often with films and documentary style capture, there might already be like a vision and a mission going into it, but you had acquired footage along the way and then crafted a story after the acquisition of most of that, which I think is really cool and probably lends itself to just being inspired by what transpires over time and crafting kind of the story that way, which I think is exactly what happened with Tara's year last year, and how cool to be the person that got to showcase all of it.
Well, and I think too, it was like Tara's crew is iconic and now in the community. I just feel like I don't know many people that have a Tara van of like, you know, like 17 cars for an FKT, like of people that are just wanting to be there and support. Like that's crazy. And I know it's a little different for like actual races where she has a more dialed crew, but that was kind of our realization with the goal of the film. It was like they're also very much part of the story. And like it it is so much is for so many runners. It's like you guys don't get to the finish line without your crew. So we're just a bunch of trail folk out here. Not to be punny, but we are.
No, it's true. I mean, the name worked on a lot of different levels as far as just like who Tara is, but then you're right, like speaking to all the people around her that are part of the journey, especially for these FKT things, right? Which are so different than traditional races. I'm curious from a filmmaking standpoint, because you're following the year, you're very much just sort of like, we're going to hold it loosely. We're not quite sure what's going to happen, but like a lot was building up to Western States, obviously, and then Tara getting sick the week of the race. And I know just sort of seeing a little bit of what was going on as everyone's trying to figure out, can she run? She's going to go for it. What's this going to look like? How did it feel to sort of be in the middle of that and respecting her story and respecting her feelings and disappointment and everything around that, but also trying to like tell that real story? Like, do you feel like you as a filmmaker were having to really sort of stretch that line of just like storytelling, but also the human side of it, you know?
Totally. Yeah. It was hard because it's like I knew that Tara trusted us, and she made that like very clear. And so I think because of that, we were able to be in there with her, like experiencing this with her without her turning off emotions. And that was really special to be able to have that kind of relationship.
All right, guys, just a quick little break in our interview with Emily to talk about Precision Fuel and Hydration's awesome free hydration planner. I don't know if you've checked it out, but if you go to precisionhydration.com, they have a free planner and totally free that will help you figure out exactly how much carbs, sodium, and fluids you need to hit your goals. As we're heading into the new year, I know we've all got big things on the calendar, so figuring out your hydration is probably the key thing that you can do. It's been an absolute game changer for me. You can click the link in the show notes, use the planner, and get 15% off your first order with the code TTNP15. Every purchase helps supports our show. We really thank you for that. And it boosts your performance as well. Back to our show. I guess zooming out, like you found that trust with Tara, right? You and Anna really found that trust. Do you feel like that's something that you better understand how to develop with your subjects in general? Like, has that sort of changed your approach as a filmmaker?
Yeah. I think towing the line of like, and I also think that with Western States too, like the storyline would have been completely different had she not, she paused for like, 7 to 8 minutes at these aid stations because she wasn't feeling well. And so that very much shaped the Western States story because there were so many funny, but also kind of sad interactions because she wasn't feeling so well. But if it had been a like in and out type deal, like a typical aid station turnaround, like that story would have been like, we watched her put her vest on and off in about 3 seconds, So it completely shifts. And so to me, that was like a very interesting opportunity because while it was like disappointing because we obviously wanted to see her do as well as she possibly could, it also opened this entire kind of like the audience was invested. Like we did the social following during it, and it's like they were so invested in like how this sick Tara was going to perform, But I do think that it made me realize that for future situations where we might be in a situation where it's an uncomfortable show of emotions with a subject, that trust in front of like before that happens is so imperative because otherwise I think you're going to miss the moment because they're going to hide from you. And it's like what steps do we need to take ahead of time to really make sure that everybody is open and trustworthy of one another. And
Yeah, that's fortunate that you were able to have the experiences with Tara over the year that got you to that point of that relationship was at its pinnacle. It was really built up, but I could see how that would be challenging if you were meeting somebody for the first time and following them and trying to tell their story.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we've all been there where it's just like, okay, like, should I like punch in or should I, step away and turn the camera away? It's like, what is that line?
It can be very hard. I've had times where I'm like angling my body away, but filming like to the, trying to still get the shot. And you're like pretending you're looking in the other direction. You're like, I'm not here right now. Because later on they'll want it. But in the moment, it can be very, very hard. And I feel like it's sort of an interesting threading of the needle for professional athletes too, because more and more we're like, people are encouraged to be open and to sort of share their stories and stuff. But when you're in those hard moments, it's like the literal last thing you want is to have someone pointing a camera in your face and you're just like, man, I feel like shit. I have not had the day I wanted, like get out of my face. So it's always like a really interesting thing, isn't it, to navigate just like where that line is. And it's probably different for every single subject,
Yeah. And I think trail running is a really unique thing because like with swimming, we're so far away from the athletes when they finish. And so the ability to be able to document emotions is so much different. Like, I mean, you have the obvious celebration, but like if they're disappointed, they just can go off behind the ready room and like you don't get any of that. So trail running is like we have such a unique opportunity to like be up close and personal for better or for worse with them that I think it's like it's addicting in a way.
Totally. As our sport has grown, have you started to feel limited at all in any restrictions that have been placed on media teams at some of the races that you follow? I think we start to see races cracking down a little bit more, making it a little bit more difficult to acquire content in these races. Have you felt that on your end yet?
I mean, yes and no. I think like I mean, like UTMB and like the larger races, like I think it's just like we have to understand like where we fall in the totem pole of who's important. I think as long as we remind ourselves of that, it's like, no, like if you're like on the board, like, I don't know, I'm thinking like Western states when you're in like yeah, Hillary, like you're in the front row, like you have to be like, that's your top of the line. So like all of us, I think just need to realize like where we are and be able to be okay with
I
that,
still got yelled at by someone. I won't name names, but I got yelled at and pushed back. And it's there's a lot of just like lack of communication sometimes with like different teams have different responsibilities, right? And like, so I think it is an interesting time where you just have to sort of like find your little spot, claim it, get your elbows out a little bit, and just like, like I belong here and I'm gonna stay here.
Something this made me think about, Emily, which are two kind of like separate creative projects of yours, which required you pivoting within like the construct of races. And one was you shooting the Olympics. So you published a book called Paris on the Periphery. Is that right? And then you also,
I love that
this is
name.
one of my favorite things that you've done. For OCC last year, you were sick with a stomach bug. So you weren't able to be out on the course shooting. So you shot your computer screen of the live stream throughout the race. So I think this speaks to, the really innovative ways you've been able to insert yourself in the sport over the last couple of years, which I think are super creative. Can you talk a little bit about both of those experiences? Because I think the audience would really like to hear about both of those.
The Paris on the Periphery book, like, or just Paris in general, that was a total naive, like, and I'm so glad I was naive because I wouldn't have gone. If I think even now, I think I would be like, you're crazy. I luckily had like a connection in the swimming space. And so I had a free place to stay in Paris. And so my goal was to have a budget to be able to attend as many events as I could as a spectator. And so I think I bought tickets to 12 events, and then obviously events like the marathon and the triathlon. Those were free because you could just go on the course wherever you wanted, which was really neat. But events like BMX and swimming, fencing and skateboarding, those all cost money. And so I was like, that's my hard budget. When I hit that, I can't go to any more events. And then there was also the limitation for spectators on the lens lengths that you could bring in for each event. And it depended on the security officer, I realized after 3 events, of if I could get a 70 to 200 in or not, because you couldn't bring in anything longer than that. And so there was a couple times, just one time, that I actually ditched in a bush next to the BMX area, my 70 to 200, so I could stay in line.
Not. Oh,
but it was still there. It was still there when I got back,
dude.
which was awesome. But like, that was an event that I had to shoot on my point and shoot because they wouldn't allow a longer lens in, which was like, it also pushes you because you're like over here just like a nerd, just but it was the coolest experience. Like, yeah, I have never, obviously I'd never been to the Olympics, but like I never expected to be at the Olympics in that capacity. And so someone was like, you should make a book out of this. And then that's where that idea spanned out of, because I was like, I was on the outside. I was a spectator. And because of that, you get a lot of different vantage points and a different perspective than, say, the people that are sequestered, like the media folks that are all, we're all put in a little box and trying to figure out how to shoot from that box, versus as a spectator, you do have a little bit more actual freedom, as much as we hate to admit it, which was really cool. So that was a really life-changing project. The shooting from a computer screen at UTM, or was it OCC, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I read.
Yeah. Yeah, that was born because I like inspiration. Jared Gruber is an amazing cycling photographer, actually, who lives part-time in Athens, Georgia with his wife. And he shot from his TV screen. I believe they were home here because he was injured, and it was one of the World Tour cycling events. And he did a whole series that are, I mean, like it's so next level. It's some of the most beautiful work I've seen. And so I was sitting there at my computer in the top bedroom, like, great, what are we going to do here? And so I did what Jared did, which was shoot my computer screen.
I mean, I love both of those things, and I think as a photographer, like I was just thinking about a couple years ago, I was asked to shoot UTMB, and I was already there, and all I'd brought was a point and shoot, and I shot the whole UTMB week professionally on a like 35 mil fixed lens on a little like Fuji. But like you have these moments and then you're like really proud of them because you have to get creative and you can't just take the easy shot and you can't just like take the one that's, like yeah, this is the shot. And you're like, well, I have a really wide lens on right now. And so I'm gonna have to find something to do with it. And I feel like it's funny how those things like you end up stepping back and being like, oh, like that was actually like a great challenge, right? And just
Yeah,
so
for
satisfying.
sure. I'm so glad I got sick. I couldn't be more thankful. I'm just kidding. That was
In
horrible.
hindsight, in
Yeah.
hindsight. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like Leah said, I love that you just found a way to be involved. I remember seeing you do that and being like, "Oh, that's actually really cute." Just like, and I think it also speaks to just your hustle and that's something that you've really developed through your whole career and just sort of like finding a way to make it work. And I think that's such a like admirable quality and I think if anything, I'm inspired listening to you. It's like, yeah, you can't lose that hunger for just like making it work and like making it happen. Yeah, I just like love that. And I think that that really says a lot about your personality and just like how you got here, honestly.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, we all love the hustle, but I think it comes down to just like the desire to live a life that is a bit different than what I thought I was going to do when I was younger and loving it. So,
Yeah. It's not an accident either. Like you don't just fall into it. And like Leah, you were saying earlier, it's like no one's just like cold emailing you and being like, "Hi, here's a budget. Come shoot this thing." Like that never happens. It's like always the other way around. And it's always you being like, "Hi, I'm available. Do you have anything?" Over and over and
exactly.
over again, And it's like once you just sort of get into, and that doesn't really change, honestly, even as you're more established. Like Leah, I'm sure Mike can tell you, like he still does it too. Like you are constantly sort of just having to reset and be like, "Hi, I want this. Like I'm here. I'd love to do it." And that's
Yes.
just like you have to really love it in order to do that.
Yeah, it's something super special.
I want to just like go into your partnership with Anna a little bit because I feel like it's something I've found this year with my friend Carrie, who I'm co-directing a film with right now. And I resonate a lot with that feeling of just like finding someone that you can work with really well and like also relate to as a human and just like the beautiful, like you said, relationship. And it really is a relationship and the trust and the synergy and the creative like vision that you have to share and just so many things that sort of all have to work together for that to feel good. I also love the idea of just like two women like you guys just being able to be creative together and to inspire each other. And so can you talk a little bit about how that, I know you talked about how you guys first got involved, but like how you realized like, oh, this is someone I want to grow with. This is someone I want to like dig into telling stories with because it's such a traditionally solo space, like we all do our own thing.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it too, was like the thought process of how are we going to grow? Like, how do individually as freelancers do we want to grow, and what does that look like? And do we want to do it alone? And the answer for me was no, and the answer for Anna was also no. And it after a course of the year working together, we just realized that like we're kind of the like yin and yang to each other. And the qualities that Anna has, I don't have, and I'm working to have, and vice versa. And we communicate really well with each other. And I think there's kind of this intuitive knowing of like what the other person needs, which like I've only known Anna, like our first shoot together was in April. Like it's not like we go years back, but she's like one of those people that like I think understands me and like what I need. And like if there's something that needs critiquing, she's very good about how to communicate it. It's not like you did this wrong. It's like, how about we look at it like this? And I'm like, this is incredible. Like what a unique way to communicate. And it's so beneficial. And I think, yeah, we just kind of came together and we had this, business meeting when we were up in Vermont in November, and we were like, should we do this? Like, should we? It feels so big, right? Like it feels like you're like you want to like take over the world or something, and in reality it's just you're putting a production name over the top of your names. But ultimately it's like we have a shared vision for stories that exist, I mean, in the trail space, like 100%, but like also Anna has a really strong background with like outside of this endurance sports world, which to me is really unique and special. And yeah, I think bringing that, like, and with my background with endurance sports, it's like I'm hoping we get to work with like a really wide variety of clients, and yeah, tell some incredible stories with Solstice.
Since
I
you
love
guys have
that.
put a name to it, has anything different transpired? Does it feel like more of the same? Yeah, any certain differences that you can speak to?
Nothing has transpired, to be truthful, as of right now. I think we're still definitely in the pitching phases of like it's not just me, it's not just Anna now. It's like I have this person, and honestly, like I feel like when we're growing and we're pitching these larger projects, it's like it's wonderful just to be able to be like, I have this person already. Like I don't have to think about, well, who the heck am I going to work with? You know, I have this other person that I can just be like, this is who I go with her. You know, um, and so I think, yeah, we're very much in like the pitching phase under Solstice at this point. And so I'm excited to kind of see what that turns out. I think like 2026 is going to be a great indicator of like what we can do together.
I mean, I think that's so cool. And yeah, I mean, just being able to sort of join forces and like you said, the formality of just being like, hey, like, are you in this? Like, I'm in this. Like, it is a bit of a like, are we dating? Are we going to go for it? Are we like taking the next step? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
making this
Exactly.
official on Instagram? Like,
Yes. Oh my gosh. The Instagram official is so real.
I have just a couple more questions for you, but one of them is actually with social media and just like the relationship that you have individually with social media. Obviously, I know loaded size every time, but just like it's sort of necessary. It's very necessary, but I know it's something that we all struggle with. And so, personally, how do you find you navigate your relationship? And then professionally, how do you feel like you're learning to find your fit with social media?
I think I am just still learning, to be quite honest. I did delete Instagram from my phone in early December, and so I only have it on my laptop right now. And then I re-download it to
Bold
post.
move.
It is bold, yeah, but it was like I got my screen time notification and I saw how many hours I was spending on social media, and it kind of was like I could be learning so many other new skills, you know, right now. And instead I do value the content and the stories that exist on social media a lot, because you know, we build our basis of what inspires us from this stuff now. But I think I have to limit myself pretty like in a pretty strict way in order to, you know, maintain my own creative sanity and remember like my vision versus like all of everybody else's visions that I'm constantly being like just yeah, have all that kind of in my face, which is again awesome and beautiful, but then I get clouded. And so I think I just have to learn to better manage those two competing sides.
That's a great perspective, and I feel like that's not one you hear very often, but I can imagine when you're in the creative space that that can be extreme at times because you wanna use social media for inspiration, but also you wanna stay true to yourself and your own, like, creative juices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like thinking about that and I'm like, that is a good take on it because there is a certain amount of yeah, it's easy to sort of either get distracted or like you said, to just lose hours of time when you could be learning something else, which I love that thought. I feel like that's something that we don't think about enough is just like that pie chart of our time and like how much of it we're just sort of like frittering away or like what we could be doing it with it instead. But that also requires like being motivated to like look for those things and to push yourself. And so I think, yeah, just removing that distraction. I I admire that you took it off your phone. Quite honestly, I feel like that would be hard for me to do. Not that I'm like posting very much because I never post, but it's just sort of like that feeling of like for work, you have this responsibility to be on it. And like we almost use that maybe more than we need to. It's like, do we? Like, I don't know.
And that's why, yeah, I would love to know, like, if we could have some sort of like data analysis that would tell us the return on investment of Instagram from a creative
Hmm.
standpoint, and seeing how many jobs we get because of somebody clicking on our work or DMing us, sliding into the DMs. Like, I would love to know if it's like over 50% of our work, because then I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm committed, I'm in. But if it's like less than that, and like, we're all striving at these races to get stuff up before the next person, just because for the sake of relevancy, like, how much does that actually impact our careers as creatives? And like, I think the thought process maybe is like, the earlier you are in your career, the more important that probably is, because you're getting your name out there. And then maybe the more established you become, you're able to kind of reel back a little bit and be like, I can separate myself from this platform and still maintain the level of clientele and the number of jobs without always being on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's like a cool thing to continue to check in with ourselves on, and like that answer might change, and I think it's certainly still a place to showcase work. And it's like, yeah, it's gonna like, I saw the Trail Folk poster and that sent me to YouTube to watch the film. And it's like, like there's things that are just like gonna lead people to places that still have value. But yeah, I mean, as far as how many clients are reaching out, based on your Instagram posts, it's probably not that many, right? Like we're still doing the reaching out, and it is still about developing those relationships. And so, yeah, I think that's really cool. And it's, every year I feel like I kind of reset my relationship with social media, but that's definitely food for thought.
Yeah, and I don't know how long the whole no Instagram on my phone will last, but I mean, we're in a month, I guess a month now, so we'll see
Pretty
if
good.
it's like a dry January type of deal, and then we're back in February.
Right in
But
time
we'll
for
see.
Black Canyon, right? Like
Yeah,
that's the problem
yeah,
is like there are things
exactly.
where it's like, oh yeah, like you said, I need to get this out really fast. But
Yeah.
okay, the last question I had was just about your own relationship with running and with being active as a filmmaker. Like I know I had a few years where I really sort of lost myself and really kind of was so busy telling other people's stories, I lost my own kind of love of the sport and like had to kind of go find it again. And I'm curious to know where you've landed with just like your own relationship with what you want from sport, whether it's running, whether it's like all the other sports that you've done and can do. And even as a creative, I guess maybe multi-part question, like being able to keep up is part of the job. Being able to keep up and run with a camera is part of the job. And so sort of like how do you navigate like what feels fulfilling from the sport for your own perspective as you're chasing elite athletes and telling, their stories?
Yeah, I think I kind of let go of the really super competitive side of myself when I started doing the storytelling during COVID, and I let go of like the triathlon side. And I have really kind of embraced the adventure side of myself, in terms of like, I love to go out and just run for, half a day, and just not put a time limit on it, and not necessarily be like, I don't have to race. Letting go of that side of myself, while it was really hard in the beginning, I think has really helped me kind of creatively lean into that side of myself. But I know, in order to, remain fresh, I have to get out. Like, I make exercise, it's a huge part of my life. And like, just moving and running and all, like, I mean, yeah, I trail run like, 4 or 5 times a week. And that's what keeps me fresh as a creative too. I think that was like, as soon as I let go of that to compete, it was like, I can just have fun. I can be fit. We're in a niche place where we, like, yeah, like you said, we have to be able to keep up with the people that we work with. And that's not going to be forever. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to do this forever. So I'm trying to lean into like being fit, not competing, but keeping up.
Good life goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Emily, as we look forward to 2026, what has been your favorite photo, piece of content, anything that you've created in 2025 that's really like hit home for you that you've created and you want the listeners here to check out?
I mean, I think Trail Folk would probably be, it was the longest duration of a project that I've ever had. So I think just seeing like a year of work be compiled into 22 minutes, which is wild. Uh,
Crazy.
yeah, that's it's really special, and I think having Solstice and Anna, involved with that, and then the like a community that was built around that film is like it'll be with me for like the rest of my life, 100%.
Well, I mean, if you haven't watched Trail Folk, you can find it on YouTube. It's on Ultra's page, right? On
Mhm.
Ultra's YouTube page. Yep. Look up Trail Folk, directed by Emily Cameron, Anna Brannon. I loved it. I thought it was just so much fun and had a lot of that fresh energy that I think you bring to the sport and to the people that you're working with. And it just really makes me happy to see you guys like flourishing, figuring out your own sort of creative vision and what like stories you want to tell, and just like having more women out there and being able to run around Western States now and like have all these like other badass women out there telling stories. I think it's really special, and it's just really fun to kind of follow your journey and see where it's going. And I'm super excited for you in 2026. I feel like you've got a lot of really fun momentum, I'm sure, coming out of the year, and sounds like a lot of brainstorming and projects in the works. So, yeah, I'm really excited to follow along. Where can we find you for folks that want to follow you on social media, even though you're not on social media?
No, I'm on it. I'm on my desktop.
Right.
My personal handle is ecam44, which is my favorite number in swimming. I know it's kind of strange, but and then solsticestudio.io is our production company.
Ooh, fun. So
Yeah,
official.
yeah.
Well, yeah, such a pleasure chatting with you today, Emily. Thank you so much for taking the time, and really excited to see you on some start lines, hopefully, in the next few months.
Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to see you guys out there. It's going to be a freaking crazy year again.
Thank you so much, you guys, for being part of our conversation with Emily Cameron. We love chatting with her. She's got an awesome perspective on being a creative in the outdoor world, and obviously super fun for me to get to know her a little bit better. She's got a fascinating background of her own. You can find this episode and all of our episodes on Spotify at the Trail Network Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram. Our DMs are always open, guys. Send us a note if there's anyone that you would love to hear from. We would love to get your thoughts, or if you have any burning questions you want us to answer. Happy New Year. We are excited to be here for another year of amazing podcasts. We're also grateful to our sponsors and for Precision Fuel and Hydration for keeping us hydrated all year round on the podcast. We'll catch you guys soon.